It's where history happened. And you know, history is just, it's his story or her story. So it's our story. So you know, we have to keep that alive because, you know, some old wag said, you don't, you know, learn your history, you're bound to repeat it. You know, we see that every day.
If history tells a story, there's much to be said about this old frontier army post. Fort Supply was established in 1868, and right here in northwest Oklahoma, Lieutenant Colonel George Custer led the 7th U.S. Cavalry.
Initially, it was part of the winter campaign of 1868. The cavalry units that were here was the 7th Cavalry, which of course at the time was commanded by General Custer, Lieutenant Colonel Custer. It was the spearhead for the campaign against the Southern Plains tribes.
If you look at the soldiers' diaries, you can follow the words that they wrote on that track all the way down from Fort Supply to the Battle of the Washita. And you can see the landmarks because they didn't have photographers. So instead, what they did is they, sketched. So you can see the Antelope Hills. You can actually follow Wolf Creek, and you can actually follow through their diaries, through their stories, through their letters, exactly what it looked like to be there.
After 25 years, Fort Supply closed, and years later, in 1908, the fort buildings became home to the first state-run mental institution. The Oklahoma Historical Society later assumed care of the 5 remaining buildings, and the Fort Supply Historic Site opened in 1992.
Right now we're in the guardhouse, which was a brick building, the only brick building that was built by the military out here. It's quite a unique architectural structure. It was built in 1892. Of course, the post closed in late 1894, so it was short-lived. It remained functional, used by the hospital throughout the years until the historic site started in 1992. It's the only building we've managed to get restored and refurnished as to what it would have looked like in, say, 1892.
Tourists come from all over our great state and country. The site even sees international visitors, all hoping to see the stories come to life and connect with the past. Visitors can walk through the buildings, see the gazebo, and explore an exhibit of artifacts and photos.
That is a replica of the original stockade, which was built in late 1868. It was originally constructed to enclose important military supplies and to be a defensive position in case the post was attacked. It was eventually abandoned after several years. We have 2 Picket-style cabins, which is a rare form of architecture you don't hardly see anymore. It's where the logs are placed vertically in a trench as opposed to being horizontally constructed like you'd see a normal log cabin.
We are trying to keep history alive and thriving here in the state of Oklahoma. One of the most important things is right here on this soil, you have Custer, you have Sheridan, you have the 7th Cavalry, you have, so much history.
The historic site is open April 1st through the end of October, Tuesdays through Saturdays, or by appointment. Admission is free, but donations are appreciated. In Fort Supply, I'm Tina McGarry, discovering Oklahoma.